Hi guys, it's Sam. I'm here today doing our competition makeup video tutorial. The reason we feel that this is so important is because we spend countless hours practicing in the studio to get these girls ready to compete. Our costumes, tights, and shoes are uniform so that we look professional on the stage. Our makeup and hair should also be a reflection of the hard work and professionalism it takes to get these girls to this point. Feel free to watch this video as many times as you need to be able to perfect these makeup techniques. You'll also receive in your email a PDF that breaks down each product, why I love them, and exactly how to use them. You may use that as a reference as well. The PDF also breaks down 2 makeup kits that are easily available for you to purchase if you are missing any of these makeup items. Good luck and happy competition season! Before you start their makeup, make sure their face is moisturized. It's super important at this time of the year that they put something on their face to help them stay hydrated so that there's not any dry spots in the makeup. I had Kimberly put her moisturizer on probably 30 minutes before we started today, so when they wake up on a Saturday morning before competition, have them put their moisturizer on before they eat and before you do their makeup. I'm gonna clip her hair back first. And I'm gonna start with our foundation. My favorite foundation that I love using for these girls is the CCTM by Senegence. It color corrects 2 to 3 shades lighter or darker than their actual skin tone, so you won't have any orange necks, which is super important. I am just putting this on the back of my hand and then doing little dots around her face that I will obviously blend out in just a second. Okay, and I put a little too much on my hand. You probably will only need about 1.5 pumps. I like to blend this out with a beauty blender. I squeeze this in the water about 3 times and then wring it out with a towel after I've done that, just to get any excess water off. So the important part with a beauty blender is that you're just tapping this into her face. You're not doing wiping motions, so you're just tapping, blending all around. Try to avoid getting it in their eyebrows, but get it all the way to the edge of their hairline. It's important that you're getting the foundation on their eyelids. I don't necessarily use a eyeshadow primer because I feel like the foundation definitely does enough for what we are going for. Always blend it just a little bit into the neck as well. But you don't need to go down their whole neck, and if you do go down their whole neck, it's gonna get on their costume. So just a little into the jawline. Okay, the next product I'm gonna use is the Tarte Shape Tape. This is my favorite concealer because it's definitely the most long lasting, and it also is just very brightening. I use the shade Fair. For me, I'm a lot lighter than Kimberly, but I'm also gonna use it on Kimberly because it's the perfect brightness for stage makeup. If you notice, I did these streaks kind of in a triangular motion, and I go just a little bit to the outside of her eye. And then I'm just gonna take the same beauty blender, the little pointed tip, and blend it in. Look up. And notice I'm just tapping this into her skin as well. I'm not wiping. And I'm just following the exact shape that I made with the lines. I'm just blending it in. I'm also gonna take this out to the outside edge of her eye into her temple, but I'm keeping this triangular shape. Look up. The thing with Shape Tape is it is gonna set really fast. So you just need to work with it as soon as you put it on. Like, don't wait for it to dry or anything. I don't know why you would, but keeping it in that triangular motion. And you'll see under her eyes are a lot brighter now. This is not all the way blended in. We haven't contoured or anything. So there's an obvious difference from her foundation. Next, I'm going to take that same little brush and I'm going to make 3 lines right in here. Make some tribal makeup, and then down the bridge of her nose, a little bit on the top of her lip, and 3 lines at the bottom of her chin. You're putting concealer anywhere you want her skin to appear brighter, and this is the perfect little map for that. You notice on her forehead I stayed in this triangular shape right there. So don't bring it all the way out to her eyebrows or all the way up to her hairline. But if you do go a little farther, you can correct it with bronzer. As soon as you are done blending in the concealer, you'll want to use a setting powder. I use the Laura Mercier. It is a little more pricey, so there is a few other options like an e.l.f. setting powder that is included in the PDF. What you want to do is take the loose powder and use your beauty blender to just pick up the product. I leave it kind of heavy on there and I just go right under the eyes. You won't blend in this step yet. This is called baking and setting. So I bring it anywhere the concealer was, on the bridge of the nose, on the forehead, right on top of her lip, and on her chin. I usually let this set for a couple of minutes until I am done with the bronzer, and then I'll blend it all together. The next product I'm using is the Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula. It is really inexpensive. I use the shade Deep, and I just feel like it's a beautiful natural color. I wear it every single day, so all of you moms can use it as yours as well. I think it's really important what kind of brush you're using for contouring and bronzing the face. So if you can just see this brush, it is pretty big. So sometimes when I'm working on a smaller face, I'll pinch the brush a little bit together so I'm not like bronzing her whole forehead or all of her cheeks. I'll make it a little bit smaller. I'm gonna start on the forehead right at her hairline. And this bronzer is really forgiving. It's not gonna leave a really harsh line. So I'm just bronzing around the forehead. I'm gonna bring it down her temples. Turn your head this way. And then we are going to bring it into her cheeks. The best way you know where to put bronzing and contouring right here is to follow her ear and go about halfway to her mouth. You can also like feel where their actual cheekbones are and do it right under that line. This is an instance where I would pinch the brush, but I'm just going very softly to make sure I'm not leaving any crazy line. I would start with your product at the ear and then blend out, because obviously wherever you first set the brush is where the most product is gonna be. I will repeat that on her other cheek, but for now I'm gonna trace her jawline right here and bring some depth into her face and into her neck. So I'm gonna take the brush, go right down her neck as well. And then I'm gonna bring it under her chin. And warm her face up. This is a step that you really do want to contour and bronze. I know that they're young girls, but it looks really good on the stage to have their face look a little bit more defined. And also at this time of the year, their skin's a little lighter, so it helps give them some color. So I'm going at that ear again, down towards her mouth. You don't want to go too low on this, so try to follow their actual cheekbone. I will blend that out. Next, I'm gonna do up on her nose. This is one for sure you either need to squish the brush, which I am fine doing, or you can take a pointed brush and go down the sides of her nose as well. I'm just gonna use the same brush I've been using. I'm gonna go right down the sides. Just warm up her nose as well. Then tuck your bottom lip under. I'm gonna put a little bit under her lip right there. And that is it for contouring and bronzing. Next, I'm going to do her blush. This is the MAC Mineralized Blush in Love Thing. This is a requirement for all of our dancers. Blush can either make or break the look, and we want our blush to be uniform with our lipstick and to match the tones of the rest of the makeup as well. So it's a really pretty color. It's kind of purpley like our lipstick. I'm just gonna have her smile. Yep, and that just brings up her little apples of her cheeks. I'm gonna start at the apples of her cheeks and then bring it out just a little bit. I don't go all the way into the ear, but this is another thing you have to remember. This is not everyday makeup. You want this to be dark. The blush is something that you can really see on stage. So blot onto the cheeks and move a little bit further back. After blush, you are going to highlight the face. I love the MAC highlighter in Soft and Gentle. It's really beautiful. It's something you can use every day, but it's also buildable, so it looks super pretty on the stage. I'm gonna start at the bridge of her nose. Just bring the highlight down. And then I'm gonna go on the button of her nose. And I'm putting a lot on because it definitely helps complete the makeup look. Then I'm gonna go at the top of the blush. Smile a little bit. I'm gonna start at the apples of her cheeks. Bring it around to about a moon shape on her face. Just a tiny bit, like to the middle of her eyebrow. Around her temples, making that beautiful little moon. We'll repeat that on the other side. Smile a little bit. Starting at the apples of the cheeks, making a moon. And if you notice, I am dipping into this a lot because I want this part of her makeup to be very pigmented. Then you're basically gonna put this where you put the concealer. So at the top of her lip, and on her chin. This is the last thing I'll be doing with her face makeup, is taking just a little bit of that same setting powder on a big fluffy brush and just blending everything together. So this is where you'll be able to see if you need to fix anything with bronzer or if you need to touch up her blush. You'll just really blend everything together. And it should be super simple, don't stress this part. Moving on to eyeshadow, I'm just gonna take any white eyeshadow that you have. You probably have some palette somewhere in your house that includes a white, or you can buy individuals. I'm just gonna use this a little bit of a bigger brush. This is for her base of her eye, so go ahead and shut. And just make sure that your daughter, dancer, whatever, is relaxing their eye at this point, that it's not scrunched up. I'm just going from her tear duct up by her eyebrows and just brightening the upper part of her little eye canvas. Don't know what to call that. You want this to be bright, but you don't want it to be blinding. So it should just highlight this part of the eye. Go ahead and open. I'm kind of bringing it in a circular motion into this part as well. Look up. I'm gonna take a little bit and put it right under her eye. And go ahead and close. The next color that I will be using is the MAC Hawks, I believe. This eyeshadow is like the perfect purple to match our blush and our lipstick. So if you notice, I'm taking it on a bit of a fluffier brush. This part of the eyeshadow really is a little more forgiving because you're about to put glitter on top of it. Not all the way on top of it, but on most of it. So you're just gonna take it from the outside of her eye over here into her crease. Kind of open your eye a little bit. This is like the crease right where her eye closes. And then I'm just gonna bring it in very lightly into her inner corners. I don't wanna darken her inner corners a lot, so I won't make that part super dark. But this, like everything else, is stage makeup, so it should show up. It shouldn't be a little light purple. And just blend this softly. Circular on the outside, bringing it into her crease, and just softly into the inner corner. You don't need to make this part dark because we are gonna put glitter on top of that. So it's mainly just focusing on her crease. Okay, open. This is where I'll try to even up any parts that look a little bit different. So make places darker that need to be darker. And I'm gonna have her look all the way up. I'm gonna pinch this brush and I'm just gonna blend it into her lower lash line. This part can be kind of uncomfy, especially for younger girls. So just have them relax their eye, have them close, and then just say gently open your eye and look all the way up. If they're not looking right at the brush, it won't be as bad. Okay, look straight at me. Okay, that looks good. So we are going to move on to the glitter. This is our Stila Cosmetics glitter. This is a requirement for all of our dancers this year. It's something that really brings this makeup look together. It looks amazing on stage. We had our intensity team in it last year and it was beautiful. It made such a big difference. So it is named Kit and Karma. How cute. Okay, close. I'm gonna start this at her inner corner. I'm just lightly putting this on. I kind of scraped off the brush a little bit so there's not a ton of product. I'm gonna follow her lash line and I'm just gonna do this little almond shape right here on the eye. So I'm bringing it to her outer corner, going up just a tiny bit, staying in her inner corner. And I might go up just a tiny bit higher. You want this to be really pigmented. It shouldn't be a sheer glitter. I'm gonna go over two options for eyebrows. I love using this brow definer by Anastasia. It is really easy to use and it comes out in a little bit of a triangular shape. You can see that. But it makes it easy to just draw them on, but it's not like crazy pigmented, so it's not gonna be a harsh line as long as you use the soft hand. Or another great option is to use a stiff end brush that goes up to that little point, not sure what to call that, and about a taupey eyeshadow color. That will work for most of the girls. If they have like black hair, then use something a little bit darker, but never use black. You want your eyebrows to look natural, so this is a super important part to practice before comp day. I'm gonna show you with an eyeshadow today. You can do the same thing with the pencil. This is just a little bit more cost effective, so my guess would be that most people will be using this. So I put a little bit on my brush and I tapped it off. How you're gonna create the brow is by following really her natural eye shape. She doesn't do like a big arch or anything with her eyebrows. I know that about her, but if your daughter naturally has an arch, you can follow that as well. I'm gonna kind of start in the middle though and bring her eyebrow up just a little bit, like middle of her eye this way, just so I have that basis. So I'm making that little line right there. This might be a little harder to see on camera. And then I'm gonna do a light line, right, follow up the tear duct and make kind of just a hair-like stroke. So I'm not doing anything harsh. I'm gonna come down on the bottom. I think you can totally line the bottom of an eyebrow, but you should not be lining the upper part of an eyebrow so it doesn't look boxy. Where I'm gonna go from here is by just dipping back into the eyeshadow. I'm gonna make just hair-like strokes all the way through the eyebrow until I feel like it is dark enough. Her hair is a little darker, so I probably could have used a darker color. But for most blondes and light brown hair, the taupe is going to work just fine. I'm gonna mix it on this eyebrow a little bit, see if we can get it a little darker. So again, I'm just gonna make that line in the middle so I can see where the middle is. And I'm gonna take up from the tear duct to the outside of the eyebrow. If they don't have a ton of hair out here, you can still make that line because that's a natural eyebrow look. I'm gonna trace the bottom. And then just start filling in little lines. This part should be tedious because you don't want it to look really unnatural. So take whatever time you need to. We are gonna move on to mascara next. Mascara truly doesn't matter at this point when we're doing lashes. They just need something to make their lashes darker. I do love this mascara though because it does separate the lashes well and isn't clumpy. Also, another good thing about this one is it doesn't leave black marks under their eye all day. A lot of mascaras will transfer like that. So I'm gonna show you 2 ways you can do this because this is probably the hardest part of doing it on someone else. I'm gonna have her look up and blink. I'm gonna have her blink slowly through this, all the way through the brush. And I will literally talk to them and say, blink, blink. But she has had her makeup done by me before, so she knows. Just making sure to get the outer edges and the outside. She does have really long lashes, so if you do get any up here, wait for it to dry completely, use a cotton tip and just lightly rub it away and then put more of the white back on there. Okay, another way you can put on the mascara, close your eye, is you can pull their eye a little bit like this and just lightly bring the brush through the lashes. This, if your daughter has really sensitive eyes, this is probably gonna be the best way. Or if she blinks really hard while you're putting it on this way and it gets like all underneath and whatever, this is an easier way to do it. Just bring it through the lashes. I also will do a little bit on the lower lashes, so look all the way up. Sometimes I do this after putting on the false lashes too, just in case any glue gets on the bottom, but you can always fix that. Make sure you're getting mascara on the outside edges of the lashes as well, so it blends well with the falsies. All right, for false lashes, I use the Ardell Wispies. They're super affordable, and what I love about them is they don't have a thick black line on this bottom part of the lash. That is key to making sure your lashes stay on during the day, is not getting a thick one. What I'm going to do is trim the lash. There's these little sections you can see. I'm gonna trim all the way to this second section and just clip that off. If the lash is too long, it'll be attached to the skin and it will be more likely to fall off during the day. If their eyes are even smaller, feel free to cut off the third section as well. My favorite glue to use with the lashes is the black duo glue. Oh my gosh, it's really forgiving and just matches the mascara and eyeliner instead of being like white and clumpy. I'm gonna put a thin little line on the bottom of these lashes. You have to be careful you don't squeeze too hard or a huge glob is gonna come out. You wanna have enough, but not too much. I'm gonna let this glue sit for a couple of minutes and get tacky. If you put it on right away, it's gonna slip all over the eye. So if it's tacky, it'll attach right to the lashes and won't be as big of a pain. The glue is tacky now, so I'm just gonna have her relax her eye. Make sure her eye is not scrunched. Do your eye scrunched so that you can see what that looks like. Don't try to put a lash on like that. Now relax. You're gonna just place this right on the bottom of the lashes. If it's on the skin, it's going to be a struggle. So do your best to get it right along the lash line. And then I'm just gonna blow on this and have her keep her eyes closed for several minutes so the glue can completely dry. And then I'll have her open gently. This is likely going to happen when you do lashes. Her real lashes are a little glued together right now, so I'm gonna have her open really gently. And I'm just gonna pull this until it unglues. This will make their eye water a little bit, so just have a Q-tip ready. Okay, until that glue lifts up. If you need to add any glue to the inside corner, you totally can. All right, I'm going to do lipstick next. You need to make sure they've done all of their eating and drinking up until this point. I also already cleaned off her lips, and then you'll just want to make sure they're dry before you start applying. This is a long wear lipstick. It's the CoverGirl Outlast in Unique Burgundy. So it looks super pretty with their blush and eyeshadow. You do have to do this a little bit different than regular lipstick. You want to apply thin layers. So I'm gonna go on the outside of her lips first and then bring it into the inside, and then I'll let that dry, do a second coat, and then put the top coat on top. So open your lips, pull them for me. I'll have her pull her lips hard like this. I'm just tracing her natural lip. If you do have a dancer with really small lips, you can go a little outside of the lines. Nothing crazy, but you can experiment with that. Okay, now I'm gonna bring it into the inside of her lips. You don't need to get right inside of the lips, like under here, because it will get wet and pill throughout the day. So just do your best to get as close to the center as you can. Okay, I'm gonna do it on her bottom, and we will show you when it's done. Okay, this is her final lip look. I would just remind your dancer over and over not to rub their lips together. The more they rub them together, the more it's gonna pill. If you need to reapply this in the day, you need to take it all the way off with like a makeup wipe and start over instead of stacking it, because it doesn't look as good when you stack it. That's all. I am doing Kembry's hair with it curled right now, but you can do this with freshly washed hair. I would just recommend you do like a dry shampoo or texturizing spray like throughout it so it's not super slippery. We are gonna part her hair at her right ear, and that is where her part naturally already is, but I am gonna bring it over so that her braid's a little bit bigger. So you'll see that this is like unnatural for her hair. Let's try to, like halfway through her right eyebrow, I guess is where I'm parting it. And I'm just gonna hold that hair down and spray there to help that part stay. Okay. We are gonna be doing a pull through braid this year, so I'm gonna section off her hair first, like about 2 inches from her hairline. Turn your head. I'm gonna bring this hair kind of like swoop it a little bit down so that you can have like the same amount of hair up here as you started with down here as you started with at the top. And you'll just clip off this hair so it doesn't get in the way. Tip your head down a little bit so you can see that line. Okay, we're gonna start with parting off a really small section at the beginning with a little clear elastic. You can do it the color of your hair or clear, but don't put like a black elastic into. Okay. I'm gonna pull this hair tight here, grab a little elastic, and bring that as tight to her head as possible. You can tighten that a little bit, and then we'll start with a new section. So part this here. And she's holding this pony for me right now. I'm gonna split this pony in half and bring this new hair through. Okay, once you've brought that hair through, you're gonna take another little section, part it with a comb so that it's like clean lines and even sections. And you're gonna ponytail that section together. You want these ponies to be tight here because you'll loosen the hair in just a little bit. Split this pony, bring the past pony through, brought that pony through, and then you'll section this hair off again. And ponytail these pieces to the new section. Okay, then you're gonna split this ponytail and bring it around this one and section off the hair. Now you'll secure that with an elastic. And repeat that until you get to her ear on this side. Okay, I'm just gonna show you how to finish this braid. This would have been the one she was holding. You're gonna split that in half and put it around your last ponytail and secure that one in the back without bringing any hair up. Will you hold this? Yeah. I'm gonna stop it right at her ear because it will make it easier to slick a bun back right on the side. So we're gonna go through pancaking next. I'm gonna bring these little sides out. I'm pinching the outer edge of the braid and pulling outwards instead of pulling the whole entire piece of hair. Just stretch the outside. And you can keep working with it as you go. Okay, I'm gonna go through and slick her bun. So I'm gonna get her hair wet just to calm the flyaways, and then we can hairspray after. I'm gonna use this little hard bristle brush. I think it slicks the best. There's lots of cheap ones on Amazon you can get, or I'm sure at Walmart or anywhere. Oh, there's a clip in here. Go through and smooth out any bumps and then secure a ponytail. You'll want the ponytail a little bit off of their neck, so don't go too low, so that the whole bun can fit there, especially those with thicker hair. Okay, and tighten the pony there. If there is any bumps, you can go through and pin that after. I'm gonna use a small donut for her hair because it is shorter. So I'll pull her ponytail through the bun, and then I'm just gonna pull it out a little bit because she has layers, but you can pull it like halfway through. That is how I've found that it works best. And split that ponytail in half, and then start wrapping the hair around and rolling it up towards her head. You'll have to work with this part, so just keep going until you can get all of the hair tight. Okay, you'll want to pin the bun tight to their head. If it's sticking out away from their head when they move, it's going to be more likely to fall out. So try to bring the bun in as close as possible. I'm just separating these bobby pins and then going through the little net on the donut. Just like that. Okay, so just make sure your donut is covered and go through and hairspray everything. All little flyaways. And there you go.